Good morning. It's time for Wager Talk First Pitch. We're going to be giving out some Major League Baseball free picks, and we're going to start down in Baltimore, where the embattled Baltimore Orioles take on the New York Yankees. And if you watch my daily show, or a couple times a week show, with Tokyo Brandon and Brian Leonard, we've kind of been teasing this all season. Go back to maybe a week, 2 weeks into the season. And we have kind of been talking about, man, this Orioles team might be the worst team in this division. Now, that's not saying that they're like one of the worst teams in the league, because the AL East is, of course, very strong. But the signs were there. And now, after being swept by the Tigers, the Orioles come in sort of far and away the worst team in the AL East, I think by 2.5 games entering the week, 10 and I believe 17 last place. Yeah, 10 and 17 in the AL East. Last place team. Starting pitching's been a disaster. They're just not hitting. No timely hitting, no situational hitting. The series in Detroit over the weekend was just an abomination that culminated in a 7-0 sweep yesterday for the Orioles. So things not good for the Orioles right now. But with that being said, we're not worried about what's happened through 27 games. We're worried about what's going to happen today and what the outlook is for the future games. There actually might be some value on the Orioles. And this is not the worst spot maybe to jump in with them. And I'll explain why. So right here, starting pitching has been an issue collectively, but I don't know that it's an issue in this game, because the Japanese player that they brought over, Tomo Sugano, has actually probably been their best pitcher. Last 2 starts for him, he's gone 7 innings in both quality starts, 1.14 whip. I didn't know a ton about him. I watch a ton of AAA, a ton of Korean baseball, and obviously Major League Baseball. Don't watch any NPB. So this is a guy coming over from Japan who's a veteran. He's been over there a long time. We know, he's shown the ability to pitch. Now, I don't know that he's got stuff that's going to sort of, keep these numbers up in the big leagues, but he certainly can pitch. And the last 2 starts, getting through 7 innings, he's keeping his team in the game, and that's desperately what the Orioles need, because they just haven't had much starting pitching that's keeping them in ball games this year. And the reason that's important is the Orioles still have a couple of very good high-leverage relievers in that bullpen. Felix Bautista has been great. Yenner Cano, I don't even think he's given up a run yet this year. The problem is they've had so few leads that these guys just haven't really had a chance to show their full worth to this team, because the Orioles have so often been trailing going into those later innings. And bullpen depth is a little bit of an issue for them. So, it's going to be all about the Orioles starting to hit at some point. But this isn't the worst spot for that to start happening, because they're up against Will Warren here, who, if guys like Garrett Cole, Luis Gil, even Clayton Beeter, Marcus Stroman, who wasn't great but has also been hurt, if guys like that weren't injured, I don't know that Will Warren is in the big leagues right now. He's probably still down at Scranton, trying to work things out. And 11 big league starts dating back to last year for Warren, 7.68 ERA, 1.59 whip. The batting average against is 285. Those aren't exactly big league numbers right there. So you want to talk about an Orioles team that sort of lacked the timely hit. Well, Warren's a guy that you might be able to get a couple of those hits off of. As far as the spot is concerned, I do think they maybe, the Orioles, that is, maybe get a bump from playing at home, and the fact that it's the Yankees. That's the team everyone gets up for. So this is a spot where I think Orioles, as an underdog, plus money, is worth a look. Juices get flown when the Yankees come to town, and you're facing a guy that a lot of these guys, the Jackson Holidays, Gunnar Henderson, a lot of these guys that were down at Norfolk the last couple years, probably got to see a ton of Will Warren, because they were in AAA at the same time, and Scranton and Norfolk tend to play quite a bit. So again, I think you might see the Orioles bats get going here. I actually like this setup a lot better for the Orioles than I do for the Yankees. So I will pretty strong lean there for me to Baltimore, finding a way to snap out of this little slump and get a much needed win on their home field tonight. All right. Big special for me over the next 3 days. This is probably the biggest Major League Baseball specific special I will run all season. We have my entire 2025 MLB season up for less than 50% or over 50% off. So it's actually a more than 50% off discount. It comes out to like $2 per day. So huge special. We are running this today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and that's it. My entire Major League Baseball season on my last 60 MLB plays. This is dating back to last year. So this is basically the playoffs and then the start this year. 36, 23, and 1. That's 61%. 43.81 units gained. We had an okay week last week where we went 3-0 on the 5% plays. Finished slightly ahead last week. So we're starting off good. It's been a great run over our last 60 plays. And I want you with me for the next 60 and then the next 60 after that. And you'll get all of them right through the World Series for more than 50% off. Comes out to around $2 per day. It is the biggest MLB special I will run all year, and it's only the next 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that will be down off the website at midnight on Wednesday. So I want you to join me for this season because I think it's going to be a great one. Really, since the middle of last year, if you go back to the All-Star break, I've been red hot in Major League Baseball since the All-Star break 2024. So we're rolling right now, and I want you guys to join me for the rest of the season. We're going to talk about one more Major League Baseball game for Monday night, and that's going to take us to Cincinnati. Let's talk Cardinals, Reds, and let's talk a total here. So we've got a guy, another Japanese guy that went to Japan, played 4 years, and came back. Will be on the mound here for Cincinnati, and Nick Martinez. And, you know, we've actually belabored this point a little bit on the Total Bases show. I like these guys that go over, spend a few years in Japan that weren't really great pitchers before going, and then they seem to come back much, much better. Like if a guy can go and stick around in Japan for 3-4 years, like a Colin Ria, who we talked about on Friday and threw a good game, or a Nick Martinez, who we're going to talk about now, they tend to be much better pitchers. And that's really what we've seen with Nick Martinez now going on 4 years. He came back in 2022. So he was a first 4 years of his Major League Baseball career. ERA was well over 5. Looked like he was about to be out of the league. Goes over to Japan, figures it out, has some success. The last 3 seasons, 2022, 3.47 ERA, 1.29 whip. 2023, 3.43 and a 1.26 whip. 2024, 3.10 ERA. It's a career best last year, and a career best 1.03 whip. So those are really, really solid numbers. He's split time between the bullpen and the starting rotation, but those are very good numbers, and that's a pretty big sample size right there. Not like a lightning in the bottle type thing. That's 3 full seasons. So the fact that he's a little bit off that pace to start the year does not concern me at all. I think he's started slow in the past and he's pitched to that. I'm not worried that his numbers I think he's got a 5 ERA right now. The whip is a little bit higher than you'd like to see, but I think he's going to pitch his way closer to the numbers that he's had the last 3 years. So I'm going to look at the under here. And the reason that there's a couple of reasons I like the under. One, I think Nick Martinez is probably better than he's shown to this point. 2, I think Andre Palante might be better than he's shown to this point. If you look at what he's done for the Cardinals last year, basically anything they've asked. Bullpen, go down to AAA, start a few games, come up, start a game at the big league level. He just does whatever they ask of him, and he does it pretty well to above average. Last year, bounced back and forth between the bullpen, AAA, the starting rotation, 3.78 ERA at the big league level with a 1.30 whip. That's very solid. And he's just a guy that goes out and battles, even when his stuff doesn't look great. Like he's just like a gamer. He finds a way, keeps his team in the game. And, you've got 2 offenses here that are in interesting travel spots, specifically the Reds, who definitely look to be a little bit inflated offensively right now. In the last week, the Reds had a 24-run outburst against the Orioles. That's obviously skewing their overall numbers. Over the weekend, they scored 22 runs in a 3-game series at Coors Field. That's 7.3 runs a game in that series. That's all within the last week. 24-run outbursts where the Orioles ended up having position players pitching at one point, and then you just come back from Coors Field, obviously you're going to score a couple runs. So I think the Reds might be a tad inflated offensively right now. And then the Cardinals, this is not exactly the easiest stretch of scheduling for them. They did have a home series over the weekend, but you're looking at, they went to the Mets, to the Braves, home for 3 games against the Brewers, and now they are back on the road to Cincinnati. So really 4 cities in the last 12 or 13 days. That's not exactly easy as well. Both teams played in a blowout yesterday. So the Cardinals got crushed by the Brewers and the Reds crushed the Rockies, which means you've got the top bullpen guys for each team. I like Nick Martinez. I'm higher than most on Palante. You've got all of the bullpen arms here available, and I think you could get a little bit of offensive regression for the Reds. That, to me, my number, I make this 8.9. I did see 9.5. Right now, it looks like 9.5 minus 110 across the board here. I think there's some value to the under 9.5 in Cardinals Reds. Remember, huge Major League Baseball special. Every single play I make in MLB, the rest of the season and the playoffs, it's over 50% off, less than $2 a day. I need you on that with me. We're going to make some money in Major League Baseball. Have a great Monday, and we will see you guys 9 a.m. Tuesday morning. I'll be with Tokyo Brandon, Brian Leonard, Total Bases. That's live right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Have a great day. Cash your tickets. We'll see you guys tomorrow.